Is Jordan, which is kind of annoying this question, but now that LeBron is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history with over 39,000 point careers, also ranking top 5 in assists and still climbing rankings in rebounds, blocks, and steals, all while consistently playing 20-plus seasons at an elite level for an old man, winning 4 championships, 4 MVPs, and making 19 All-NBA teams. Who is better, Jordan or LeBron?
You know, those are some incredible stats.
They are.
Those are some incredible stats. I'm never going to say anything bad about LeBron, I told you. I think he's the 3rd best player I've ever seen play after Michael and Kobe. It's just different eras. I love LeBron. I'm not going to say anything bad about it.
In the team's best interest, in your best interest to play all 82. Is that something you thought about at all since you made the goal?
That's a goal, but we'll see. But it's something I ain't discussing right now.
1 hour later.
Something like this, is there many things you lean on to try to?
And I had a teammate. He says, "You twist your ankle, young fella. Come over and sit with me. You know, this is you need to." I said, "No, man. I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact."
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
A LeBron James superfan walked straight up to Charles Barkley armed with every stat imaginable and every accolade ready to fire. He had the kind of swagger that only comes from thinking the numbers tell the whole story. What followed completely dismantled his case, argument by argument. But the real damage didn't just come from Barkley. Michael Jordan recently spoke out on NBC and delivered statements that shredded every single point this superfan brought to the table. Here's what makes it absolutely devastating. Jordan wasn't even in the building, never heard about this fan's argument, and had no idea this debate even took place. Yet what he said publicly tears apart the entire statistical case for LeBron without mentioning this superfan's name once. By the time you hear what Jordan revealed about his mindset and his thoughts on today's players, you'll see exactly why the stats-only approach to crowning LeBron crumbles when you put it in front of people who actually witnessed both legends dominate in their primes. Barkley was hosting a fan Q&A when this guy stepped up to the mic. His name? Jordan. The irony practically writes itself. You could tell instantly he came locked and loaded because he had that intense courtroom energy, like he was about to drop a closing statement nobody could argue with. The stats started pouring out non-stop, over 40,000 career points, making LeBron the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Top 5 all-time in assists, and still climbing in rebounds, blocks, and steals. 22 seasons of elite basketball with 4 championships, 4 MVPs, and 21 All-NBA selections. These numbers hit like haymakers, one after another, and the crowd started buzzing. On paper, that resume looks absolutely bulletproof. How do you argue against the all-time leading scorer who's also top 5 in assists? How do you dismiss 21 All-NBA teams across more than 2 decades of dominance? The fan finished his presentation and basically challenged Barkley to explain how anyone could possibly measure up to those credentials. That's when everything flipped. Barkley sat back for a second with this look on his face like a professor about to break down something incredibly obvious to a student who thinks they just aced the test. The first thing Chuck said caught the fan completely off guard because he didn't trash LeBron at all. Those stats are undeniably incredible. And LeBron is an amazing player, one of the greatest Barkley has ever seen in his own words. But then the first bomb dropped, and it's the one LeBron supporters hate to acknowledge.
It's just different eras. I love LeBron. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. He didn't go to college for 3 years. You have to factor that in also. He had a 3-year head start on Michael. Okay, since you want me that. So, I'm gonna just give a couple of things about, if he wanted to do it fair, he would say, well, how many games did Michael Jordan play compared to LeBron?
LeBron skipped college completely and entered the NBA straight out of high school at 18 years old. Jordan spent 3 years at North Carolina before turning pro, which gave LeBron a 3 to 4 year head start right from the jump. Every counting stat in LeBron's favor includes thousands of points, rebounds, and assists that Jordan never had the chance to rack up because he was still playing college ball while LeBron was already putting up numbers in the league. That's when Barkley reframed the whole debate with one straightforward question. If you want a fair comparison, why not look at how many points each player scored in the same number of games? That calculation exposes something the raw totals completely hide. Jordan scored roughly 5,000 more points than LeBron in the same number of games played. 5,000 points is the equivalent of about 2.5 full NBA seasons of scoring.
And actually, if you look at the numbers, Michael actually had 5,000 more points in his career, same number of games. 5,000, which is 2.5 NBA seasons. But you have to factor in, Michael went to college for 3 years. And if you remember, he broke his foot his first year, and he retired for 2 years. So if Michael went to the NBA 3 years sooner, not missed his rookie year with a broken foot, and not retired for 2 years, he would be the all-time leading scorer.
Barkley kept going and brought up the fact that Jordan broke his foot in his second season and missed nearly the entire year. Then he walked away from basketball for 2 full seasons to play minor league baseball. Give those years back to Jordan and the entire narrative shifts. If Jordan had entered the NBA at 18 like LeBron, if the broken foot had never happened, and if the baseball experiment never interrupted his career, Michael Jordan would be sitting at the top of the all-time scoring list right now, not LeBron. The fans stood there silent because the logic is ironclad. When you account for the extra seasons LeBron played, the scoring gap doesn't just shrink, it completely reverses. But Barkley wasn't finished yet. Another stat had recently surfaced on Inside the NBA that genuinely stunned him, and this one puts the entire longevity argument under a completely different microscope. 562 games where Jordan scored 30 or more points across 15 seasons. LeBron James, after 22 seasons of professional basketball, sits at 559 games with 30-plus points. That means 7 extra years of playing time still haven't been enough for LeBron to catch Jordan in explosive scoring performances. That reaction makes perfect sense because this single number destroys the notion that longevity automatically equals greatness. Jordan's scoring average stands at 30.1 points per game, the highest mark in NBA history. LeBron comes in at 27.0 points per game, which is still phenomenal but noticeably lower. 10 scoring titles went to Jordan during his career, compared to just 1 for LeBron. When you line up those numbers side by side, the all-time scoring record starts looking a whole lot less impressive. LeBron didn't reach the top by outscoring Jordan, he got there by outlasting him. And those are 2 completely different accomplishments.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Did you ever look at how many shots Michael Jordan took and how many shots LeBron took?
I did not.
Michael Jordan.
They were both gunners.
Michael Jordan took way more shots.
Well, that was his job.
You know, it's all about winning championships.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
This is where Barkley's argument shifted beyond raw statistics into territory that genuinely frustrates LeBron supporters, because the numbers stop being the focus and the conversation becomes about how these 2 players actually built their legacies. Jordan's entire championship run happened with one franchise. The Chicago Bulls drafted him. The Detroit Pistons pounded him for years in the playoffs. Instead of hunting for an easier situation somewhere else, he stayed put and figured out how to beat them. What he built in Chicago transformed a struggling franchise into the greatest dynasty of the 1990s. 6 championships in 8 years with the same core group and 0 instances of jumping ship when things got tough. LeBron took a completely different path. 7 years in Cleveland without breaking through led to The Decision and a move to Miami to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. That single choice fundamentally changed how superstars approach their careers. The modern super team era, where stars coordinate in free agency to chase rings instead of building something where they were drafted, started right there. When Miami began to fade, LeBron returned to Cleveland and immediately orchestrated a trade for Kevin Love. When that situation became difficult, he left again for Los Angeles and teamed up with Anthony Davis. 4 different franchises and 3 different championship cores that he either joined or personally constructed tell a very different story than Jordan's single-team dynasty. Barkley has maintained this stance for years. Jordan first, Kobe second, and LeBron third, specifically because of this pattern of team stacking. Julius Erving recently left LeBron completely off his top 2 all-time teams for the exact same reason, saying LeBron led the charge in assembling these super teams. The Scottie Pippen counterargument always surfaces here, but there's a crucial difference people constantly overlook. Jordan didn't recruit Pippen. The Bulls drafted him through their own scouting department. Jordan didn't abandon Chicago and the Pistons kept bouncing him from the playoffs. He stayed until he conquered them. Building a championship team through the draft looks nothing like hand-picking your co-stars through free agency and demanding trades. After all this back and forth, someone hit the fan with the ultimate question. Forget the spreadsheets for a second. In your heart, with 1 game to win and everything on the line in a Game 7 scenario, who are you taking? LeBron, Michael, or Kobe? The fans' answer? LeBron. He stuck to his guns despite everything Barkley had just laid out.
So
And let me tell you something. LeBron, we compare him favorable to Magic Johnson. He's a more of a triple threat than Michael was. I'll agree with that. But let me ask you a question. I want you to be honest with me in your heart.
all right.
If you had 1 game and you said, I need to win Game 7, would you want LeBron, Michael, or Kobe in 1 game win all?
LeBron.
Okay.
Here's the wild part. That response actually strengthens Barkley's argument more than it helps LeBron's case. Michael Jordan never played a Game 7 in the NBA Finals during his entire championship career. 6 trips to the finals, and not once did a series go the distance because Jordan closed teams out before they ever got the chance to force a deciding game. 6 championships came with 6 Finals MVP awards and a perfect record on basketball's biggest stage. The 1993 series against Phoenix saw him average 41 points per game for the entire finals, and that's not a typo. LeBron's finals record tells a different story. 10 finals appearances is an incredible achievement on its own, but 6 of those ended in defeat, including 3 losses to the same Golden State Warriors team. A 4-6 record means more championship rounds lost than won. The standard counter-argument is that losing in the finals beats not getting there at all, and there's some logic to that. But here's the thing. Jordan did make it there 6 times and won every single series. Nobody ever got to call him a loser on the biggest stage because he flat out refused to lose when everything was on the line. NBC recently brought back NBA coverage for the first time in over 20 years and pulled off something massive by getting Michael Jordan to return. Not as a player, obviously, but as a special contributor to their broadcasts. Jordan rarely does interviews. This man has been a ghost for decades, showing up for his brand and occasionally talking business, but actual basketball commentary almost never happens. When NBC announced he'd be sharing his thoughts on the game, people paid close attention. The first segment aired during opening night, with Jordan discussing legacy, paying it forward, and missing the competition. Pretty standard stuff. But then the second segment dropped, and that's when things got serious. The topic? Load management. And Jordan didn't hold back even a little bit.
882. What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. You know, I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like, you know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy.
Load management shouldn't even exist, according to Jordan. He explained that every single game was an opportunity to prove himself. But here's where it cuts deep.
Jordan started talking about the fans, specifically the people sitting way up in the nosebleed seats who worked their entire lives just to afford one ticket to see him play. Those fans mattered to him. He didn't want to let them down because playing wasn't just about him. It was about the person who saved up everything just to watch him perform one time. Think about that for a second. Jordan was talking about duty, responsibility, and understanding that when you're making tens of millions of dollars a year, you owe it to the people paying to see you play to actually show up. He made it crystal clear. If you're physically able to play, then you play. No excuses, no rest days, no load management. Then Jordan revealed something incredible that nobody talks about anymore because it doesn't exist in today's NBA: the love of the game clause. This allowed Jordan to do something absolutely wild by today's standards. If Jordan was driving down the street and saw a pickup game happening on the side of the road, he could pull over, jump in, and play. And if he got hurt doing it, his entire contract stayed fully guaranteed.
How did that love of the game fuel your career?
It was the basis of my career. My love of the game within my contract, which, I'm pretty sure most contracts now, I'm actually positive now, don't have that clause within the contract where
You had a clause in your contract.
love of the game contract that if I was driving with you down the street and I see a basketball game on the side of the road, I can go play in that basketball game. And if I get hurt, my contract is still guaranteed. I love the game so much that I would never let someone take the opportunity for me to play the game.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Drop your thoughts in the comments about whether LeBron's longevity argument holds up against Jordan's peak dominance, or if the perfect finals record closes the case permanently. Smash that like button if this breakdown made you see the debate differently, and subscribe because we're just getting started exposing the truth behind basketball's biggest debates.